Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's been a while since I uploaded, but today I wanted to try something different. I'm doing a challenge to see if it's possible to beat Persona 5 using Arsene only on the Merciless difficulty. This is the first part of the video since it's taken me months to record this. I started in August, but I really wanted to get something up before the release of Persona 5 The Royal. So, with that out of the way, let's explain the rules. I have to use Arsene in combat outside the tutorial because in the tutorial I'm forced to switch out of Arsene. I have to play on the Merciless difficulty, as without that it would make the challenge void and the game would be a lot easier to finish. And the other rule is no game breaking exploits, not that I know of there is any of at the point I'm not recording this video. I'm writing this script after I've beaten the second palace of the game because wow, you'll see why this took me a really long time to get this far. I just want to say that I'm not the greatest at the game, nor have I played every game in the series, so I end up probably making lots of mistakes that people will point out in the comments. If there's anything that I can utilise later on in the run, I'll make sure to do so for the part 2 or anything onwards. But without the way, let's start the challenge. I start off with the run like any other normal playthrough. Technically we keep to the challenge because Joker uses Arsene in the prologue. But anyways, after getting caught and taken to the interrogation room, I choose the difficulty of Merciless because, well, that's the rule of the challenge. And I named my character Akira because I'm a normie, and that's what most people seem to name the protagonist, and that's what one of the two names were when I typed it into Google, so I stuck with that. So, after going through some mandatory story sections, Joker and Ryuji end up at the palace, which is Kamoshida's castle, where they get captured. This ends up with Joker awakening to Arsene, which means the run can properly start. After awakening, the first couple battles was easy, however this shows the problem that the Merciless difficulty shows. You don't get as much XP as the other difficulties in the game. As we can see, we only get 8 XP from the first battle, which means we don't even get to level 2. This will prove to be a challenge much later on, and it does cause some issues. After a couple minutes we find Morgana, and then that means we can finally heal ourselves, which makes battles ahead a lot easier to deal with. A couple more battles with Morgana was actually really easy because he has wind skills, which is basically a free knock on Pyro Jack. So after that we leave the castle and go back to the real world where we have to do some more story content. The rest of the tutorial was easy. Hey look, Ryuji has a persona now, meaning that we have a party of 3. Should also say that Merciless also makes some battles easier in a bit of regard because hitting weaknesses does 3 times more damage on both sides, meaning that Ryuji can one-shot the enemies in his awakening fight. We escape the palace again and spend a couple more days in-game using evidence to use against Kamoshida, but then after a special incident, we go back to the palace after deciding that Kamoshida can die. And it also turns out Alan came with us. After taking Pixie as a mask, which we don't want because it's not Arsene, we are forced to use it in the next battle. I really tried not to use Pixie, but the game won't let you use Arsene. But it's fine because I made sure to add it to the rules because it's just a tutorial battle. After going around the palace a bit, Anne gets captured and we have to rescue her. Anne also awakens to her persona, and then the first challenge of the run comes, being that the mini-boss we have to fight in her awakening. Even though Anne missed her Agi, the enemy uses Maguru, which is an instant kill for Joker and Ryuji. Even if Joker dodges the attack, the enemy will get an extra turn if Maguru hits Ryuji. Doing an all-out attack does even less damage than Anne, so the only way to win is for Anne to attack twice, and hope the Joker does not get hit. However, it didn't take long to win because Joker dodged the attack and then the AR decided to heal itself rather than attack with its second move, so it didn't actually take that long to win at all. Next couple of days after was preparation for the palace, I went to Takimi, but I didn't buy anything yet because I'll explain that later, but I did buy a magic camisole for Arn to get +2 to magic, which will be extremely useful for fights in the palace. I went into the palace straight away on the 18th which I forgot completely about one thing. The first time that you enter the palace, you go straight to the Veil Room to learn about Persona Fusion. This is an issue because the tutorial forces you to use Arsene. Unless I'm level 5, I was grinding for 1 to 2 XP from each fight to get to level 5. It would be extremely tedious to do that, and also it's hard to get enemies to respawn. So I had to use Arsene to fuse a pot, but then I bought them back for 2,000 yen using the compendium, the first chance I got. First part's the palace straightforward, so I was stealing stuff left, right and centre for money later on, and easily winning every battle I came across. Arsene leveled up again, and got better stats going into agility and strength, so that's more useful than luck, but turns out it isn't because I actually needed luck later on. It's all fun until I walked into a room, An enemy spawned right in front of me. Instead of Joker attacking it by pressing X, he instantly grabbed the thin air, causing the party to get ambushed. Morgana just dies out of existence. Ryuji gets 2 critical hits, which was extremely good, but I couldn't heal the damage Joker was taking, so he died. Made it back and got halfway to the treasure before leaving due to running out of skill points. It's all good though, because that means I can go back to a Y to buy weapons to get more damage. Turns out there's a mini boss right after the room I left at, which is a high level Archangel that uses charge to power up an attack to deal massive damage that will one-shot everyone even when blocking. As the Archangel will one-shot anyone it is when they're blocking, the easiest way to deal with this is to just spam attacks without blocking to deal the most damage. It's got me in the win in the end because and dodging an attack means I got to deal more damage and I'll continue on. And all until the first battle right after I got killed instantly by Bearer, so I started to be extremely careful. Between now and getting to the central tower, not too much happened. I tried to avoid as many enemies as I could. Once I got into the central tower and saved, I forgot completely that I could ask for money and the enemy would retreat, which led to a death that made me just leave the palace to buy more gear. After buying some more stuff for a while, I went back and died a couple more times on the eye puzzle. And did learn Domina though, so that means you could sleep the mini bosses to get damage. That is almost an instant kill due to how Merciless works. However, after that I made it to the top of the tower and into the treasure room. I tried to fight Kamoshida at level 7, which is a massive failure for me because turns out Joker can die from a single attack at 120 health. So I figured I needed to grind in order to win this battle. The key place to grind in Kamoshida's palace is against Archangel at the bottom of the stairs on the way to the treasure room. If you've done the social link with Ryuji, you can use Baton Pass if Joker uses a gun on the pixies to switch to Ryuji, and then you can use either Aya on Joker's Arsene or Zio on Captain Kid on Archangel to knock him down. And you can ask Archangel specifically for money and you'll get 20 XP. This is the most amount of XP the player can get in Kamoshida's palace. So that means I will only grind off of Archangel. He will respawn by leaving the room at the top of the stairs and going back in. However, I did die a couple times doing this, I wasn't paying enough attention. At level 9, I did then attempt Kamoshida again, and I did get pretty close. I managed to break the chalice this time, and I sent Ryuji to knock the crown off, but I was not able to heal enough, which meant Kamoshida didn't take enough damage to not notice Ryuji, therefore leaving me in a cycle where I couldn't deal enough damage to steal the crown off his head. After thinking about how to deal with the healing problem, I remembered that Takemi's social link allowed me to buy things in the shop to help me. After doing rank 1 with Takemi, I can now buy Takamedic All V's, which is the key to winning the fight because it heals 100 HP to every teammate in the party. This is better than Arna Morgana using Dia or Media because that only will heal 60 HP. This means I can focus one person to heal while the other 2 can attack. After this I won the battle instantly because of how Joker and Arn can attack. Who knew that literally one social link between losing and winning? We now have to wait for Kamoshida to confess, so during this time I just did the available social links I had and I got my stats up for the main midterms so I can focus on social links later. A few days later Kamoshida confesses and then Joker and the team decided to continue stealing the hearts. So I was asked what to name the fan suits. I called the group the Goons because I mainly had no idea at the time what to call the group. Morgana then takes us into Mementos, which I forgot completely about the Mementos money exploit, but I wouldn't worry about me using it for now because Arsene can't even learn the ability to confuse. A few days passes by, we do the midterms, we do the exhibition with Yusuke, and we start looking at Madarame's palace. The first infiltration, we can get a bit of money to buy gear, along with anything that I had from the Mementos and grinding from the palace. The second infiltration took a lot longer. I knew that the palace needs to be done in 2 or more trips due to the barrier in the middle, and that Joker and Ryuji will have to fight a really strong enemy that is only weak to fire at the start of the second trip. I don't know if there's any way to get Arsene to use a fire move, or if there's any items I could craft, and it turns out that by fusing Regent, the first treasure demon, with Aberian, I could get a level 1 Arsene, with which I could choose the moves of. However, the only way to get Regent is to knock it with a critical, or use Nuke or Psychic. So the only way to get it is to use a critical hit on it. Morgana doesn't learn Lucky Punch until level 13, which will take a long time with the low XP gains. And Ryuji getting a critical will kill it in 1 hit. Therefore, the only way to have this happen is to have Morgana take his starter weapon, because it's one of the weakest weapons in the game, and hope in the 2 turns that the battle goes on for, he can get a crit. With Merciless, the chance to get a critical was much longer than the other difficulties, but this method still took me a couple hours to do. After knocking Regent, we take him as a persona and carry on to the safe room. After this I took out Regent, and I fused it with a variant to get a new Arsene with Miragi for New A, Mafre to knock out Shiki Algae later, which will be a really hard mini-boss, as well as Palimpra and Secunda for even Mementos mini-bosses to help against Madarame's boss fight. Well, it turns out it's going to be a nude painting, but I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but obviously we must help because she really hates the idea. The next day, Morgana and Arn distract Madarame by opening the door, allowing Ryuji and Joker to go into the security room to disable the lock. The fight with Neo was extremely easy because the new Arsene I fused, and we carried on. Yusuke awakens to his persona, but I cannot use him for this palace because I need Ryuji for the skills I got from his social link, and Morgana and Arn for healing or sleep. I did go to Mementos a bit to clear mini bosses to get more money, but I didn't know how the confused exploit worked at the time, so I got absolutely nothing from it. Going through the rest of Madarame's palace was so much easier than Kamoshida's, due to Arsene being stronger and being able to weaken the mini bosses now. So we got to the treasure room in no time. However, I challenged Madarame way too early because of Merciless getting much less XP. I was only level 13 when I did it, which is extremely underleveled, so my solution for this is to grind again. The best place in the palace to grind is in a treasure hall against Nue, as he will give 72 XP per fight, which is the most you can get in the palace. So I grinded off Nue using Joker and Arn's Miragi skills for about an hour until the entire team was level 17, so Ryuji learns Rampage to deal with most of the paintings. Once I was at that point, I felt like I was ready to challenge Madarame with healing skills from Sakimi. However, despite being level 17, and that's being a decent level to challenge the fight, Madarame is still extremely lethal though, and if he gets a weakness on any member of the party, the AI will then continue to hit every member of the party with their weaknesses, so if anyone gets knocked down, it's basically an instant loss. I mean, that's point I was insert footage of me getting absolutely destroyed by Madarame's AI. Arsene is weak to ice, so if at any point in the fight Madarame uses Silent Snow Escape and it hits, Joker will die instantly. However, after about 100 attempts at the fight, I did win in the end, and this is how. Ryuji will always use Rampage to take out the eyes and nose as quickly as possible, while Joker will debuff the mouth's accuracy, and I will debuff the mouth's damage. Morgana will always stay on healing duty until the eyes and nose are taken out after a couple of turns. Once the mouth is the only one that's left, the entire team will spam magic into it to take out as quickly as possible. During maths, the Madarame will get taken out after the 4th time he appears with the team's maximum damage, so the team needs to last until the 4th rotation when the fantasies can splatter the paintings with the black ink that makes it weak to everything. During the second phase, if somebody gets hit with the ink, they will always block as it stops them from getting knocked, so as long as the team dodges attacks and doesn't get hit by anything, the second phase is easy to deal with. The same strategy is also used for the third, where I will only need to hold out for a couple turns in order to not die, so that Ryuji can hit paintings with the black ink, so that give us an instant win. Because knocking all the paintings down, Madarame will be defeated within the next 1 or 2 phases, which means that I just got an easy win. It was pretty fun. But anyways, this concludes the end of part 1. With the UK being on lockdown, I have more time to record, and let me tell you, part 2 is even more hectic, as Kanasho's palace is like extremely tough due to most enemies not having any weaknesses. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more, please like the video and leave a comment. It shows me that you enjoyed the video and it really motivates me to make even more of this content.